Hello, and welcome to Senior 1 Medication Calculation Practice Questions. Specifically, we will be going over just the pediatric questions in this video. In the following video, you will find obstetric questions. After we finish the practice questions, we will accomplish the learning objectives as well as follow the guidelines as you see below. Pediatric practice questions. Grace is an 18-month-old who has been admitted to the pediatric unit for fever and urinary tract infection. She weighs 22 pounds, 4 ounces. The following medication will need to be administered: ampicillin, gentamicin, and metoclopramide. Question 1. What is Grace's weight in pounds? So the units that we want to focus on are pounds, and we know that the conversion for ounces to pounds is going to be 16 ounces to 1 pound. And so we want to convert 4 ounces into pounds. So let's go ahead and do that. 4 ounces. We want to go ahead and cancel the unit of ounces. So you want 16 ounces in the denominator, 1 pound in the numerator. 4 divided by 16 is, let's see, 0.25 pounds. And so if you add that to the 22 pounds, that's already given. That means Grace is a total of 22.25 pounds. Question 2, what is Grace's weight in kilograms? So the units that we want to end up with are kilograms, and we know the conversion for kilograms is 2.2 pounds to 1 kilogram. So we're going to go ahead and put 22.25 pounds. You want 2.2 pounds in the denominator, so your pounds unit will cancel. And you have 22.25 divided by 2.2 is 10.1 kilograms. 10.1 kilograms for the answer for number 2. Question number 3. Ampicillin 300 milligrams IV Q6 hours is ordered. The drug manual information, 100 to 200 milligrams per kilogram per day divided by Q6 hours. The final maximum concentration is not to exceed 30 milligrams per ml, and the maximum rate of infusion is not to exceed 100 milligrams per minute. Part A, calculate the safe dose range of IV ampicillin from blank milligrams per day to blank milligrams per day. So let's go ahead and make sure that we remember on the top of the page we circle 10.1 kilograms because that is Grace's weight. And the units that we want to end up with for this part A is milligrams per day. And the safe dose range means we're going to have a low end and a high end. So let's go ahead and start with the 100 milligrams. So we're going to make sure that we have our order, 100 milligrams per kilogram, all over 1 day. And we have our other order of high dose range, which is 200 milligrams per kilograms per 1 day. And the availability is going to be Grace's weight, 10.1 kilograms. So let's go ahead and follow our equation: order times available. So starting with 100 milligrams per kilogram per 1 day, We're going to multiply that by 10.1 kilograms. Cancel out the kilograms. And our answer is going to be 100 times 10.1. We have 10 milligrams per day. And that's our low range. And then for our 200 milligrams per kilograms over 1 day, we have 10.1 kilograms. Kilograms is going to cancel, and you're left with 2,200 times 10.1 is 20 milligrams per day. So your safe dose range per day is going to be 10 to 20 milligrams per day for part A. Part B is asking, calculate the safe dose range of IV ampicillin from blank milligrams per dose to blank milligrams per dose. So this is when we're going to take into account the frequency, and our frequency is going to be divided by Q6 hours. So remember, it's 24 hours divided by 6 hours, which means you're going to have it in 4 doses per day. So remembering this and this, let's bring it over. We have 10 milligrams per day, and you want day in the numerator, so the day unit cancels, and you have 4 doses. So take out your trusty calculator. 10 divided by 4 is 252.5 milligrams per dose. And for your 20 milligrams per day, day in the numerator, so your unit day cancels, divided by 4 doses. 20 divided by 4 equals 505 milligrams per dose. So in your shaded box, you're going to write in 252.5 to 505 milligrams per dose for the answer for part B. Continuing with number 3, part C and D, we're still going to consider ampicillin 300 milligrams IV Q6 hours. Part C is asking the dose of ampicillin must be diluted in at least how many mLs? So what we want to start with is what is our final units that we want? Milliliters. And after that, we're going to go ahead and write down our order. That's 300 milligrams. And what's available, and I'll go ahead and highlight that in a green color, is going to be this. The final maximum concentration not to exceed 30 milligrams per ml. Because if you look at all of the other units, we have milligrams per kilogram per day, we have milligrams per ml, and milligrams per minute. The only one that really fits in this question is asking for mils at the end. So that would be this, final maximum concentration not to exceed 30 milligrams per ml. So we're going to put our availability as 30 milligrams per ml. So remember, order times available. You have 300 milligrams, and you want the 30 milligrams in the denominator, so the milligram units cancel. You have mLs on the top, and your answer is 10 mLs. 10 mLs of fluid. And the fluid, depending on what the drug manual information says here, you'd have to look it up on Lexicomp. It could be either D5W, sterile water, or NS. So it just depends on what your drug manual tells you to dilute the medication in, but it has to be at least 10 mLs of fluid. Part D, calculate over how many minutes you will administer this dose, over at least how many minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and use a different color, so use blue, and you're going to go ahead and use this specific part of the given information. The maximum rate of infusion is not to exceed 100 milligrams per minute. Because as you can see, we've already used 100 to 200 milligrams per kilogram per day for our safe dose range. The final maximum concentration is to figure out how many mLs to dilute the medication in. And the maximum rate of infusion is how fast you're going to go ahead and either IV push the medication or you're going to set up your pump. So the units that you want to end up with are minutes. And you're going to have your order, which is 300 milligrams. And what's available is 100 milligrams per minute. You're going to make sure you do order times available. For our equation, 300 milligrams. You want 100 milligrams in the denominator, so the milligram units cancel. Minute on the top, and you get 3 minutes as the answer for part D. So that means when you are administering the 300 milligrams of ampicillin every 6 hours, that you're going to go ahead and push this medication with diluted in 10 mLs of fluid, and you're going to push it at least over 3 minutes, and that's the fastest that you can give the medication for. The next question is question 4, gentamicin, 60 milligrams IV, Q 24 hours or daily. Drug manual information, 5 to 7.5 milligrams per kilograms per day once a day. Final maximum concentration is not to exceed 10 milligrams per ml. Part A for number 4 is calculate the safe dose range of IV ampicillin from blank milligrams per day to blank milligrams per day. So the units that we want are going to be milligrams per day. And we have 2 orders. So our first order is going to be 5 milligrams per kilogram per 1 day. And that's our low. And we have another order, which is our high, is going to be 7.5 milligrams per kilogram per 1 day. And remember, what we have available is Grace's weight, 10.1 kilograms. And following with our equation, order times available. So you're going to go ahead and multiply this by 10.1. So the units of kilogram cancel. Multiply this one by 10.1. So the units of kilogram cancel. And you're left with milligrams per day. So go ahead and take out your calculator. 5 times 10.1 is 50.5. And 7.5 times 10.1 is 75.75 milligrams per day. So in your box, you're going to go ahead and put 50.5 to 75.8 milligrams per day. Part B is asking for the safe dose range of IV ampicillin from blank milligrams per dose to blank milligrams per dose. So the final units we're looking for are milligrams per dose, and we're taking into account our frequency, which is 1 dose per 1 day. So bringing over these answers, we have 50.5 milligrams per day, and 75.75 milligrams per day. You want day on the numerator, dose in the denominator. Days will cancel, same as the 75.75. And because it's 1-to-1, 1 day per 1 dose, the answer will come up the same, 50.5 milligrams per day and 75.75 milligrams per dose. Excuse me. This is dose. So 50.5 to 75.8 milligrams per dose for the answer for part B. Part C, using the same information regarding gentamicin, they're asking for the dose of ampicillin must be diluted in at least how many mLs. So remember, we're going to go ahead and use the final maximum concentration must not exceed 10 milligrams per ml. And we're going to go ahead and make sure we have our final units, which are mLs, our order, which is 60 milligrams, and what's available is 10 milligrams per ml. You're going to go ahead and multiply those together. For our equation, 60 milligrams, you want the 10 milligrams in the denominator, so the units of milligrams cancel. You're left with mLs, and your answer is 6 mLs. So in the shaded box, 6 mLs of fluid. And remember, you just have to check on the drug manual information if it's going to be D5W, sterile water, or NS. Number 5, metoclopramide 2 milligrams IV Q8 hours, drug manual information 0.4 to 0.8 milligrams per kilogram per day divided by Q8 hours, dilute to a concentration of 0.2 milligrams per ml. Maximum rate of infusion is 5 milligrams per minute. Calculate the safe daily dose range of metoclopramide from blank milligrams per day to blank milligrams per day. So the units that we're looking for at the end are milligrams per day. And we're going to start with our what's available, the patient's weight, the order, our low, and our high, because it's a range. So we're going to have 0.4 milligrams per kilogram per 1 day and 0.8 milligrams per kilogram per 1 day. Patient is 10.1 kilograms, because remember, we're still following our equation, order times available. Kilogram units will cancel, same for down here, kilogram units will cancel. And let's do some math. 0.4 times 10.1, 4.04 milligrams per day, and 0.8 times 10.1 is 8.08 milligrams per day. So when you are writing out your answer, you're going to have 4.0 to 8.1 milligrams per day. For part B, we're going to calculate the safe dose range of metoclopramide from milligrams per dose to milligrams per dose. So the units that we're looking for are milligrams per dose, and this is when we have to take into account the frequency. Q8 hours, so 24 hours divided by 8 hours is 3 doses per day. So you're going to go ahead and take these answers here, 4.04 milligrams per day, and it's going to be day in the numerator, 3 doses in the denominator, so the day units cancel. And the same for the 8.08 milligrams per day. Day in the numerator. 3 doses in the denominator, so the days cancel out. Grab your calculator. 4.04 divided by 3 is 1.34 milligrams per dose. 8.08 divided by 3 is 2.69 milligrams per dose. So your safe dose range is going to be 1.3, 2.7 milligrams per dose. Continuing with part C, same drug that we're talking about is metoclopramide. So metoclopramide is available as pictured, and as you can see, it's 10 milligrams per 2 mLs. For each dose, calculate how much you will draw up in mLs. So the units that we're looking for are mLs. And the order is 2 milligrams. The availability is 10 milligrams per 2 mLs. Order times availability. 2 milligrams. You want 10 milligrams in the denominator so that the milligram units cancel. And you're left with 0.4 mLs. So you would draw up 0.4 mLs from this vial using a syringe and a needle. The dose of metoclopramide must be diluted in at least how many mLs? So remember, we're going to dilute to a concentration of 0.2 milligrams per ml, and the units we're looking for are mLs. So we're going to do order 2 milligrams. What's available is 0.2 milligrams per ml. Order times availability, 2 milligrams, 0.2 milligrams in the denominator, mLs in the numerator, milligram units cancel. And 2 divided by 0.2 is 10. So you want to dilute it in 10 mLs of fluid. And last question, part E, calculate over how many minutes will you administer this dose. So we're going to go ahead and look at the maximum rate of infusion, which is 5 milligrams per minute. So you want the answer in minutes. The order is 2 milligrams. The availability is 5 milligrams per minute. You're going to do order times availability, 2 milligrams. You want 5 milligrams in the denominator, so milligram units cancel. Minutes in the numerator, and you get 0.4 minutes. So what this means is you will take this vial, drop 0.4 medication, take 0.4 of this medication in the syringe, and dilute it into 10 mLs of a diluent. Depending on your drug manual information, it could be D5W, sterile water, or NS. And then once you dilute it, then you're going to go ahead and administer the medication, and it cannot be faster than 0.4 minutes.